Yo, what's up everybody, Fornatron here, and today we are back again with part 2 of our Elden Ring easy mode playthrough. We're gonna do a lot today because our previous video was more just like setting up your character, just kind of getting some of the groundworks, the basics laid out. But in this episode, we're gonna do quite a bit. So we're gonna get a few more items for leveling up our healing. We're also gonna get the weapon that we're gonna use for the majority of the playthrough, pretty much the entirety of the playthrough. We're gonna fight our first main boss, which is Margit the Fell. We're gonna see how far we get from there. So let's get into it. All right, so we picked up a few things in our previous run here, and we also visited a few of the minor bosses. You can go ahead and kind of fight through some of the other minor bosses in Limgrave and pick up a few extra runes, but it's not necessary. It's just if you want to. None of these are really big story bosses that mean anything. They're just more of a way to attain runes. What we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna pick up one of the talismans that we're gonna need before our first boss fight. So we're gonna go back over here in East Limgrave, Fort Height West. And there is a talisman in a chest that we're gonna grab. We're also gonna pick up a few more Trina lilies. So it's gonna be in this little area here. So this is where we are, and it's gonna be in this little fort area here. Also to the left over here, there's some treasure chests that have some runes on them. So let's go there right now and pick up some free runes. These are good for just storing in your inventory for whenever you need like a few extra bucks for like leveling up your weapon, or just like doing any sort of like last minute smithing or things like that. There's a few wolves here. We don't need to fight them. Let's just try to grab as many of these without getting attacked. That worked out well. Just play Ring Around the Rosie. You can't catch me. There we go. Last one. A couple more right here. All right, done. Now we're gonna head where we put our marker. I just put it right in the middle of that little fort. So I hope you're all enjoying the walkthrough. If there's anything that you feel like I'm not really covering, or questions that you have, just put them in the comments down below, and then I'll try to include it in the next video. Because I really just want to get more people introduced to this game. Okay, so there's a big ass bear right there in front of where we need to go. This is also where you meet Blythe, one of the NPCs, for the first time. If you want to go through his quest line, it's not necessary, but we can do it. What we're gonna do is, around this bear is a ton of Trina lilies, which is an item that we're gonna need later for crafting. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run around him and pick up as many of the Trina lilies as we can. So we're basically gonna run around him and then kind of just circle back here to get down to the little hidden cave that we're gonna go to. So let's just alley-oop them. So pick this up, pick up, pick up, pick up, pick up. The bear's gonna wake up. Let's kind of trail him out here. Okay. There we go. That was weird. He was just kind of hanging out here. I think he can get you from up there. Just run up there, open up this chest, and the axe talisman is in here. This talisman increases the damage that your charge attacks do. So when you're two-handing a weapon and you hold R2 and do a charge attack, it'll enhance the guard breaking capabilities of that attack. It'll also increase the amount of damage that the charge attacks do. Now that we've got the talisman, we can just get out of here. I'm gonna remove my marker. And the next thing we're gonna do is we are gonna go to the Third Church of America, and I'm gonna show you why. So once we're back here, there's actually a hidden little warp point. One of the NPCs does tell you about this at the Roundtable Hold, and he'll mark it on your map. But if you just jump outside of the window from inside the Third Church, so right where the site of grace is, just turn left here, jump out one of these windows right by the Statue of America, and then to the right here, behind these little bushes, there's gonna be a hidden little warp point. So this is a warp point right here. This will take you to another random destination within the game. So we're just gonna click on here, travel to another location. And this is gonna warp us to Caelid. So right behind us is a boss. We're not gonna mess with that boss because we're extremely under-leveled compared to that boss right now. That boss will rock us. We don't have the map for this area, so that's why we can't really see anything. So this is what we're gonna do. Right behind us, if you open up this door, this is the Bestial Sanctum. There is a site of grace right here that we can get. This is an NPC. It's kind of like a covenant, but there aren't really covenants in Elden Ring. But he's an NPC, and you bring him death marks, which are an item that you get from a certain type of boss that reoccurs throughout Elden Ring. And in return, he will give you bestial incantations, which are miracles, pretty much. We're not doing that in this run, so you don't need to really worry about him. So I would just get the Site of Grace right there. Once we go back outside, we're going to hop on Torn, and we're just going to run past this boss. Don't interact with him, just run right past him. And he won't attack you. There are small little enemies in this area. Don't be confused. They will one-shot you. So just dodge them. There's a golden seed right here you can pick up. This is a great early area to farm because those little enemies, they drop 1,000 runes each. So you can just cycle through and pick them off and collect quite a few runes just real quickly. Grab this Site of Grace just for safety. And we're going to run across this bridge with this dragon on it. So I don't want you to worry. Just manage your stamina. I know you're like, man, this is a bitch walkthrough of this game. We're running past a lot of stuff. Yeah, we are, but we're getting really OP. And then by the end of the game, you can just walk through all of this stuff and just wreck. So just run right past. He can't really do anything. He might shoot fire at you, but you'll be long past for it to do any damage. Once you go down here, by this kind of not so big Erd tree, there's these things called Erd tree avatars, and they're like mini bosses. The one here is also pretty high level, so it's right there. You can see it down there just waiting for you. Don't go down that path and fight it. Just go on the far left over here and avoid it. So if you just skirt around this far left edge, you will not engage that boss fight. And if you just run behind this tree here, you will see an airstream. So this is where you can jump super high distances. And we are going to make our way up to this castle here. So just run up here. And there is a Site of Grace right here. Boom. So basically, if we have a look, this is where we warped to, and we pretty much just ran down here before the bridge, ran across the bridge, went behind the tree, jumped up to Fort Ferrith. There's a couple things that we're going to be grabbing from here, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get another talisman that's inside of Fort Ferrith. Okay, before we jump in here, this place is super sketchy. All of the enemies do really high amounts of damage for where we're leveled. So the point is, don't engage with any enemies. Run past them, roll past them, manage your stamina. Do not engage. So what we're going to do is we're going to run in here right now, and we're just going to run. Don't stop for anything. So run inside. Go left. Run past these guys. Immediately get to this ladder. Press triangle, and then just hold up and hold circle the whole time. If you go too slow, you might get poisoned. And if you go really too slow, those bats will follow you in there and they will kill you. Once you get to the top here, open up this chest. And in here is the other half of the Dectus Medallion, which we will need for later on. Earlier, we got the first half back here at Fort Height West. And it was at the top past the big knight that had the blood attack. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do, we are gonna jump down on that roof, and then at the back right there, there's a hole that we can drop down. Once we drop down, we're gonna walk a little bit forward. There's gonna be a rat waiting there to ambush us. We're not even gonna worry about it. We're just gonna jump across the edge. So just get ready to run, because as soon as you jump down on this roof, some invisible ghost enemies show up. They are much higher level than you, so it's not even worth engaging because we don't do that good of damage right now. All right, so let's do it. So we're gonna run, jump, just run. There's gonna be one that shows up right here. Roll over here. Just roll in here. The rat's gonna be on our left, so we're gonna run and then just immediately jump over here. There's gonna be a big rat right behind here, so just run, roll down here, roll again, pick up this item, and then quit your game out. I know that was a lot really quick, but you have to do that or you will die. Once you load back in, just immediately warp out, because you won't be like engaged in a fight and you can just press the touchpad button. And now we got one of the best talismans for our low level. So this is Radagon Source Seal. It greatly raises attributes, but also increases damage taken. So you do take a little bit more damage, but it's not that significant. But look at this. Just from having this on, it increases our vigor to 17, our endurance to 18, our strength to 17, our dex to 24. So that's a 5-point increase in those attributes, which is insane. Talisman to have, especially at this point in the game. All right, the next thing we're going to do while we're here is we're going to kill this big-ass dragon. But since we've gone to Caelid, Melina will now take us to the Roundtable Hold. So you can talk to her. She's basically been like, I was just testing you, but now that I can see that you're a competent warrior, I'm going to take you to the Roundtable Hold. The Roundtable Hold is like the official hub of Elden Ring. It's kind of like your official safe space that you can go back to. It's also where you can meet a blacksmith who will level up your weapons all the way. You can do a few other things here. There's some NPCs that you can talk to. You can talk to all of them. This one basically teaches you incantations or miracles. This one also teaches you incantations, but also puts you on the path to meet that NPC. That's the big enemy looking dude that collects death items, and he gives you beast incantations. This guy is just an NPC who has a quest line that you can follow. This is how you reach the new DLC for the arena. Awesome. This is Sir Gideon All-Knowing. Sir Gideon Offner the All-Knowing. Cool NPC. Talk to him. He basically introduces you to the Roundtable Hold. Says like, you're a newcomer. Shut up. This is our blacksmith. You go in this room. This is Fia. She has her own quest line, which we'll go through later. And this is actually where you can go and you can redesign your character if you're not happy with how you look. So you just go apply cosmetics, brings you back to the character creator. So really cool. That's a cool feature that they added in Elden Ring. I think they had it in Dark Souls 2 as well, and Dark Souls 3, but it's a lot easier to do here, just to do some cosmetic work to your character. Okay, that's all we really need from Roundtable Hold as of right now. So we're gonna go back to Caelid, and we were at Fort Ferrith. So previously in the last episode, I showed you how to do item crafting and how to make blood grease. So we have the crafting kit, and we also have the recipe for blood grease, so we might need a couple items first. So let's do that real quick. So we have plenty of blood roses, which we can get from Fort Height. That's where we got the recipe from. They're those red flowers that look like roses. And we need root resin. So I'm going to show you where to get root resin real quick. So what we're going to do is from Caelid, we're going to go all the way back to Limgrave, all the way back to kind of where we started out and where we got Torrent. We're going to go to this gate front side of Grace. We're going to hop on Torrent. As soon as you go through those doors, that troll is going to jump down on you. So just run. Don't pick up any items. There's nothing here worth picking up. Just make your way. Jump over these little platforms. This is the whole point of Souls games is to survive. And a lot of people get mixed up because they're so conditioned from a lot of these action games to just like clear out the level of all enemies. And that's really not what you're supposed to do in the Souls games. And that's what trips up a lot of new players, is they get stuck in these mobs and they just get killed, which is super unfortunate. Get this side of Grace over here. Talk to this girl over here. She's basically like, hey, my friends went to Stormveil Castle, but there's a rumor going around that they're doing grafting. So they're taking people's body parts and grafting them onto the demigod that's there. And you probably have seen that in some of the promotional material. If you keep talking to her, she gives you one of the spirit ashes, the jellyfish one. Just run out her dialogue. You can pick up this key over here. From this side of Grace, we are going to run down this way, and there's another side of Grace right around here somewhere. So we're pretty much just going to run in a straight line down this path here. So this path right here. You'll see an enemy there. I think these are fire arrows that are on the ground. Yeah. And there's the side of Grace right there. There's an NPC in there. He will sell you Ashes of War. None of those Ashes of War are worth getting. But that NPC will play a role later on. But you want this side of Grace for this reason and this reason only. So this is the War Master's Shack side of Grace. You want this because right next to it is root resin. And this is a great place to farm root resin. It's one of the only places to farm root resin, actually, because root resin doesn't normally respawn when you sit out a side of Grace. So we're just gonna pick up a few of these. Let's do one more. Just keep doing that until you have like 20. Okay, so once you have a few, we're actually going to go to crafting. We're going to go over to blood grease, and we can make some blood grease now. One more thing that we're going to do while we're here is behind the shack, there's this area over here. There's a bunch of trolls, but there is a stone block behind here that we can trick one of the trolls into breaking, and it has smithing stone shards in it, and it also has a smithing stone shard 2 in there. Let's trail this guy. Let's get him chasing us, and then we're gonna hide behind this statue so he hits it. Just stay clear of him, and then you can run, grab the item, we got it, and just get the hell out of there. Also from here, we're going to get an Ash of War that's going to add a 20% increase to our damage. So in this same area, War Master Shack, we're going to go over here, up on top of this hill, and then there's a horse enemy right here. So we're going to go there right now. Hopefully I'm opening up the map and showing you where we're going in advance well enough, because I used to hate when I first started playing this game, people would show you where to go and they never open up the map, and you're like, I don't know where you're going. Like, I don't know what you're doing. So it's this guy on the horse here. So we're going to use a lot of R2s and charge attacks to do some heavy damage. And also we're on sheath. So let's wait for him to come back. There we go. Do it again. Oh, yeah. So he's put that buff on himself. I'm roll spamming there. Cut it out with the shield, buddy. All right. So Ash of War, Golden Vow, that's what we were aiming for. We can assign that to a weapon. We're going to do that right now. So we're actually going to head back to the Roundtable Hold. So we're going to press the touchpad, triangle, then square. And it's going to ask us, do you want to go straight to the Roundtable Hold? Yes. Once we're in here, we are going to go to the left. You can go in here and talk to Gideon Ofnir a little bit more, and he'll give you a little bit more lore about what's going on. I highly recommend you do that and just run through his dialogue so you have a better understanding. He'll tell you more about the different demigods and what's going on, so good context to have. Let's talk to these twin maiden husks. This is like a merchant, and you can bring them bell bearings, which opens up more things to be purchased in the shop. So we're going to purchase this dagger here. So just buy that. That's literally all we want from them. And then we're gonna go back over here to where the blacksmith is. Talk to him. So we're gonna go to here where it says Ashes of War. We're gonna have to press R1, go to the dagger, press X, and then put on the Golden Vow, Ash of War, and we're gonna make it a sacred. And that gives us Golden Vow without having to have points in faith, and we can use this incantation without having any faith points. Super awesome. While we're here, we might as well upgrade our katana to +4, which I think we should have enough shards for, which we do. Great. All right, now that we've done that, we can finally go back to Fort Ferrith. And now that we're here, we're gonna get an insane amount of runes. So I'm gonna show you. So we're gonna kill this big dragon here. This big dragon does nothing. It'll let you just kill it. Because technically the proper way to get here is to charge in front of it. And this big dragon buffs a bunch of little dragons around it. So the reason why we want to make all that blood grease is so we can increase the blood damage our katana does. Because even when we hit this enemy, look how big its health bar is. Like, this will take forever. But that's the beauty about weapons that have procs. So like a bleed proc, a frost proc, it does a certain percentage of the enemy's health bar, no matter how much damage you do. So we just took away like 5% right there. So just continue to hit it and continue to build up that bleed proc over and over and over. See, look at that right there. It does 13,000 damage. Don't worry, just let it charge up. Your stamina, take your time. What you want to do is when you get to the last 10% of the boss's health, remember way back when we got that gold pickled fowl foot? We're going to pop that just before we kill this boss or this big enemy, because that'll increase the amount of runes that it drops. So let's reapply our blood grease. So now that we're just at the lowest part of its health, we're gonna pop this golden pickled fowl foot. And let's finish off. Right now I'm just tapping R1. Just doing quick R1 attacks. See, there we go. Alright, dragon's dead. And check out all the runes that we're about to get. Almost 100,000 runes right there. So amazing. That's incredible at this point in the game. So what we're gonna do, Let's take off Radagon Sword Seal. We're going to put the Axe Talisman back on. And now we can see that our dex is at 19. We need to get our strength up so we can use the weapon that we're going to use. And I think we have to get 18 strength. So let's level up. Let's get our strength to 18. And then let's put the rest into vigor. And maybe a couple of points into endurance. And for the majority of the game, because the weapon that we're going to be used scales with dexterity, we're going to be putting most of our points into dex, endurance, and vigor. Vigor is your health. Mind is the ability to learn more, or like to use spells more. It's your FP at the top there. Endurance is for your stamina. Strength is your physical strength. Good for upgrading for strength builds, but we're mostly going to be a dex build. Maybe a mix of strength. Our goal is probably to get strength to 25, maybe 30, but our dex we should get to like 60. Intelligence is for sorceries and magic damage. Faith is for incantations and faith damage. Arcane is for a few other things. More on that another time. All right, so we're happy with that. Let's confirm. And let's go get the weapon that we're going to use for the rest of the run. So we're going to go back to Limgrave, and it's actually this little site of grace right here, the Aguil Lake South. All right, once we're here, we're going to go behind us here. Just jump on Torrent. And we're going to go to this Everjail. So what we're going to do is let's make sure we're prepared before we go in. Take off anything that we don't need. Alright, so what we're going to do is we are going to equip the Sacred Dagger. And the way to use it, so first we're going to buff ourselves with our Flask of Wondrous Physic. So hold triangle, press right. We're going to switch to the dagger, two-hand it, so triangle R1, and then we're going to press L2 to use the weapon art. Let's go back to our katana, two-hand that, put some blood grease on there, and we're ready to rock. We're going to do lots of unsheath for this. So this guy might be a little bit tricky for some of you, but don't worry. So nimbly. I'm really lucky that he is not hitting me. Booyah! And there we go. We got the Bloodhound's Fang. So you're probably like, what? We're going to give up our katana after leveling it up to +4? And the answer is yes. So what's great is now we can just immediately flip to using the Bloodhound's Fang. And the best part about this weapon is, one, it has a bleed proc of its own. So you'll see it causes blood loss up to 55, which is up from our katana, which is only 45. Plus we can add blood grease on top of it. It does a lot of posture damage when you do a charge R2. Also, it has this weapon art, which is probably the most used for new Souls player. And it's the L2. You use fancy backflip, does a lot of damage. But the best part is if you use it, so you press L2 and then you press R2 right after it. So L2, press R2, and you'll do that attack. So it's a really good combo. It does lots of damage. So it has essentially two weapon arts, or Ashes of War. And what's also awesome is we've picked up 2 Somber Smithing Stones. So we can level up our sword to +2. And somber smithing stone weapons only level up to +10, where regular weapons level up to +24. So a somber +2 weapon is kind of like a +5 or a +6 weapon regular. So we're gonna upgrade this. All right. Now we're ready to take on the first boss. So we're gonna go back to Limgrave. We're gonna go back to Stormhill Shack. Okay, and we're basically gonna run up here and then into the castle. So the first boss we're gonna fight is Margit the Fell. This is where a lot of people get caught up and they give up on the game because he's just too hard. And it's because they just ran straight here from the beginning of the game. And you're gonna get rocked. Unless you're like pretty experienced with Souls games, you're gonna get destroyed. So that's why it's good to level up like we did, pick up a lot of stuff. Just run over here, get this side of Grace. You can probably get it before this guy chases you down. Let's make sure we get all of our flasks. All right. So you can summon in Raja, Sorcerer Raja. Can if you want. All the power to you. Like, who cares? Summon people in. Use your spirit summons. Do whatever you can. The point is just to survive this game. Before we go in here, I want to kind of tell you about this boss a little bit. So he does a lot of combos in threes. So he'll do like a swipe attack, he'll throw something at you, or he'll do an overhand, but he usually does them in cycles of 3. He has another attack where he does a really exaggerated like stretch up to slam down. The point of that is to bait you into just roll spamming. So you'll just get in a roll spam, you'll use up all of your stamina, and then you'll get hit. So the point is be smart, lock on, always try to run to his back, and so you're not facing him directly. And the point is we want to try to do as much posture damage as possible so we can break his guard and get some critical attacks. So that's why we're going to equip the Axe Talisman rather than Radagon Sword Seal. This is a great boss, so before we walk in, we are going to use our flask. We're going to two-hand our dagger, press L2. Let's juice up on our mana, two-hand our weapon, put on some blood grease, and we're ready to kill, man. You're going to start a cutscene. Really great cutscene. Highly recommend you watch it. All right. So I was going to show you how to go in here, and I did something really stupid, and I jumped off the edge of the map and died. Don't do that. So let's give that a try again. So again, mix our flask with our physic, switch to our dagger, two-hand it, L2 to do the 20% damage buff, go back to our sword here, put on some blood grease, and we're ready to rock. Let's top up on our juice here. So when you stay too far away, he'll also do shit like that. Like he'll... So he'll throw stuff at you. Oh, I was trying to get out. I hate when he does that combo. I can't believe both of those missed. We are just doing terrible here. When he gets to about half health, he will trigger his second phase. There we go, broke his posture. We get a critical. Look at that damage, dude. I can't believe we're like just about to die. There we go. thought I could dodge that. Just I'm doing so bad. There we go. Done deal. That's Margit the Fell, everybody. So a lot easier, even with my super sloppy fight there. So he pretty much talks some crap. This is normally when you would go to Roundtable Hold because you're supposed to beat Margit for Melina to show up. But if you go far enough out of Limgrave, that'll also trigger Melina to take you to Roundtable Hold. So Margit gives you a decent amount of souls. Just gonna run up here. And we're gonna level up. Let's probably put one more point into Vigor, and that's all we can afford. Great. We're gonna go into the castle, and we're gonna talk to this dude.
Come over here.
So he's basically like, hey, if you want to get in, sneak in over here. He actually follows you and wants to kill you. We're gonna say no, I'll use the main gate.
Fair enough. Well, but of course.
He's basically like, are you sure? Like, you're gonna die. You can always go that way, but we're gonna go this way. This is a lot faster. So what we're gonna do as soon as the gate opens up, we're gonna run in a diagonal over here behind this pillar. Oh, and then once we've done that, we're gonna run diagonally over here. Let our stamina regen. Just be ready to roll. Jump up here. Get this Trainer's Lily. Get to about here and then crouch down. The reason why you want to crouch is because there is a big enemy over here and you do not want to trigger him to aggro against you. Once you're in here, you're free to run. And we are going to grab this Site of Grace right here. We're going to need this a little bit later because this is going to be important. All right, so now that we've got that Site of Grace, we're going to run back out this way. Crouch down about here. Again, so we don't trigger that enemy. It's not really worth the runes that it drops or the item that it drops, so I don't know, just not worth the hassle. Okay, jump past these fools. You're gonna run up these steps to this corner and then immediately roll. Okay, dodge these fools. Run up here to the far right. You're gonna stick to the right, run off this tree and jump. Let's go over behind this tree. There's 12 mushrooms here, or 8, pardon me. Jump up here. This isn't anything special. I think it's just for summoning in people. That's a smithing stone. We don't need those anymore. Come over here, get this Site of Grace. And sit down. So Stormveil Castle is actually quite big, and there's a lot that you can explore through. So this was the entrance, and the way that you can normally takes you outside, and you go all along the edge here. There's a bunch of stuff. It's cool if you want to explore, like you can do that on your own, but it's not necessary. This is the fastest way to the actual main boss of the game. So we're gonna run over here, and up here is the worst enemy in this entire game. Birds. Birds are brutal because they fly, their movement is sporadic, and they're super hard to hit. So you just gotta be careful. There's a guy over here. Take him out first. There we go. Okay. There's another golden seed over here, followed by a Trina's Lily. But we're gonna go in here in this little room here.
Be proud.
And we're gonna meet Nefeli Lu, another NPC. She basically says like, here, like I'm here to kill Godrick, who's the guy here that's been grafting people. So he's taking people's body parts, putting them on his own, and he's the first demigod that we're gonna kill and get his rune to put the Elden Ring back together again. Just run out her dialogue. If you run over here in this little alleyway, I think there's another set of smithing stone 2s. Yeah, there's one. And there is a troll right there and 2 enemies. Just run past them. Like, honestly, it's not even worth fighting them. Okay, go in this room here. Sit down at the Grace. So you reset their enemy locations. And immediately to our right is the boss, and you can summon Nefeli Lu here. But we're gonna go straight, because there's some items over here that we want to get. Probably the only items worth getting in Stormveil Castle for our first playthrough. Again, I highly recommend you kind of go through exploring here in your own time. Kill this big pot boy over in the corner here. He's kind of hiding to scare you. I love when they explode, because he drops cracked pots. And there's another cracked pot in that corner there. You don't need to kill these little guys. Like, you can if you want, but not necessary. Unless you're sick. Unless you're sick. There's some more kukri. Those we really don't use until, like, way later. Okay. We can add another charge to our flask. Can we level up? No, not quite. All right. We could summon in Nefeli Lu, doesn't hurt. So let's summon her in. Again, who cares? It's your first time. Get help. Use NPC summons. Use your spirit summons. This is your first time. Your first time, your goal should just beat the game. Beat the game. Enjoy it. And then maybe on your second playthrough, try it without summons or try to challenge yourself a little bit. Do things like that. I don't know why people put that pressure on themselves. I know when people ask me to play God of War, they told me to play it on Gimme God of War mode, and don't do that. It's not enjoyable. So as is tradition, we're gonna put on our flask. Oh, and then after beating Margit, we have 2 slots, so we can have both our Radagon Source Seal, which increases some of our stats, and we have increased charge attacks. Let's flip to the dagger, 2-hand it, press L2, get that 20% buff. It only lasts like 30 seconds though, so you gotta be quick. And then let's put some blood grease on our sword, and we're ready to rock. Watch this cutscene. Cool cutscene. All right. So Margit has a few combos, and he also does an attack that does an AoE. So we want to pretty much like sneak up on him, do as many charge attacks as we can. That's the attack that you want to roll out of there, get out of the way, because he does that AoE. Let's use some of our weapon arts, or Ashes of War. Break his guard, get that critical. Get that bleed proc. Let's get another charge or 2. Oh, he's nimbly. Okay, now he's transitioning to phase 2. Try to get as much damage on him as you can. All right. Watch the second cutscene. It's awesome. So as soon as it ends, run behind him. Get another charge R2. Do your weapon art. Nice. We got another crit. Don't want to be stupid. Done deal. Easy mode.
That is golden. And one day we'll return together.
Little piece of geometry in the air. Very nice.
Bathed in rays of gold.
And you just killed your first demigod. I remember when I first played through this, that boss was incredibly hard. But again, we're pretty OP for where we are. They originally said they want you to be like level 40 before you fight this boss, and we are level 37, so we're just about there. So we're kind of at the appropriate level. We're just doing things smart. And that was our first main boss of the game. So I hope you're enjoying the playthrough. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Meow.